Hello everyone, B.O.R.G Dexter here, and in this video I will be reviewing the second DLC of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, called Legacy of the Forge. I'm quite hungry, so let's get this mini review underway so I can go satiate my hunger. A quick look back on my previous KCD experience. I played the first game a few years ago after release, and despite it being somewhat buggy and clunky, the combat nearly made me quit at some point. I found the game was worth my time and money, and I was looking forward to the sequel. I followed all the rumors and updates on the development of KCD2, which I normally try not to do for games I'm looking forward to, so as not to spoil the game for myself too much. Long story short, I loved the sequel even more and bought a season pass. I was a tiny bit disappointed with the first DLC named Brushes with Death. Perhaps I expected a bit too much. This DLC was better and met my expectations, for the most part. I'll get into that a bit later. The DLC is activated by visiting a ruined household in the poorer part of Gutenberg. Our hero Henry has a flashback going way back when he was a wee lad, walking with his dad when he looked at the ruined house, piningly stating that he spent the best years of his life there. Back in the present, Henry finds a lone old woman named Magdalena inhabiting the desolate ruin. Upon talking to the woman and mentioning Martin, Henry's father, Magdalena is somewhat shocked and remembers the good old days when her husband Škoda worked in the forge along his apprentices, one of which was Martin, Henry's dad. After you decide to try and revive the forge, you must visit the blacksmith's guild in order to join them to earn the right to the forge. After a practical and theoretical test, if you pass, you can begin restoring the forge, while Magdalena helps with running the household attached to the forge. Now I have to say, this DLC really makes you feel like you need to earn the right to the forge and a successful business, resulting in you feeling satisfied and attached to it and your accomplishments. The forging, pun intended, of this bond begins at the very start, as you pick up trash and rubble piles strewn about the ruined forge with the inevitable task of carrying sacks. When you get the forge in a workable state, you will need to start building up your blacksmith prestige to earn upgrades and customers. You earn prestige by completing various blacksmith guild activities or side quests, however you want to call them. These vary from forging weapons, participating in duels or archery competitions, donating your money to the building of churches, sponsoring the Gutenberg tournament, playing dice, and some other activities. As you earn blacksmith prestige and level it up, you will unlock many upgrades for your estate. These are divided in 3 areas available for upgrade: your forge, your private room, and your yard. I love it when games offer you the opportunity to build something up from humble beginnings. Upgrades can have a merely aesthetic change, but some upgrades, not just some, a lot of them, provide you with various buffs that can be activated. This is most apparent when you furnish your room with chandeliers, tables, beds, decorative shelves, wall paintings, chests for your items, and some more options. You can also hang your weapons or shields on the wall, which reminded me of managing your estate in The Witcher 3. I really like that. Upgrading your forge consists of changing the color and decoration of your walls and roof, along with unlocking murals, various shop signs, and decorative vines. Your yard contains many useful upgrades, including a tub for washing clothes, horse stables where you can clean your horse, a smoking house and drying stacks for preserving food, a wine cellar that provides wine and sausages, an alchemist cabin for crafting potion, the whole 9 yards. It's got everything you ever might need. Here in your courtyard, you will be able to build workplaces for various characters you can later recruit to work at your forge. I derived great satisfaction from merely seeing my rundown estate slowly progress and become a well-known forge. Not to mention that a lot of the upgrades have actual uses, rather than just being aesthetic changes. Love this, I do. So, what does a typical day of a forge owner and expert blacksmith look like? Usually, I tend to take care of forging commissioned weapons first thing in the morning. These commissions can be provided by customers that directly visit your forge or through Magdalena, which can relay customer demands to you. Henry can be commissioned to craft horseshoes, axes, swords of various types. Now, sadly, you cannot forge, say, armor or some other items like maybe crosses that would be commissioned by the church, or even some more dull items like hinges or something. Forging can become samey and monotonous. I will speak more on this later. When you have finished your work, you need to sharpen the weapon and deliver the item to Magdalena if she gave you the quest, or to the specific NPC that commissioned the item, upon which you will receive money and an increase in blacksmith prestige. You can also build any weapons you want that are non-commissioned and place them in the sales box that can be found in your forge. Items sold from this chest are sold for less money, but it's presented kind of a good way to dump any excess weapons and armor you might have. Now, I gotta say, a lot of the time I put a lot of items in the chest and they sold very slowly and for little money, so yeah, there's that too. I'm not sure how useful this feature is. I'd rather just go to town and sell all the excess items I have. When I finish my morning forging and product delivery, I am looking for other guild activities to do. Like I said, these can range from duels, archery competitions, donating money for churches or sponsoring the Gothenburg tournament, clearing out enemy camps and retrieving stolen items, and so on. Now, I must say these activities can become pretty repetitive, but most of them have a sort of mini conclusion. For example, after going to the quarry for an archery competition a few times, you will come upon bandits that robbed Raven, the guy that helps organize and judge the competition, and you will be tasked to retrieve his stolen stuff and deal with the bandits. Donating money to the Gothenburg tournament for the first time will unlock a quest for a Waffenrock, I hope that's how you say it, with the logo of Henry's forge to be made by a tailor. If you wear it while participating in the tournament and hopefully winning, it will bring you a lot of blacksmith prestige. Sometimes the customers that commission a weapon at your forge are more interesting than the average NPC and will have small storylines, like the guy that completely ignores his wife and becomes obsessed with the sword you made for him and loves to show it off to anyone who happens to pass him by. These mini storylines help a lot in alleviating the repetitiveness that can occur when playing this DLC. Now, this DLC also has a main storyline of its own, and besides restoring the forge, after you achieve a certain blacksmith prestige level, you will be entrusted to fix the big tower clock in the town square that has been broken for nearly 3 decades. Škoda's team, which included Henry's dad Martin, attempted to fix it at that time, but struggled to do so. After some time, the job was suddenly given to experts from Italy, and they ended up being idlers and took the blueprints for the clock and their paycheck, never fixing the clock and running away, leaving behind a clueless apprentice that they brought along. To fix the clock, you will need to assemble a team of experts: the abandoned Italian from the botched clock repair job decades ago, a runaway former apprentice that worked at the same forge with Henry's father. You can also poach an apprentice that is bored with the work given to him by his mentor and that feels unchallenged and without opportunities to do something more advanced and interesting. Each of these characters provides a bit of insight into Henry's dad, and they can tell you what he was like when he was younger and tell of various adventures, which is a great way to flesh out a character that no longer exists. You will house and provide the workplaces for these people you recruit at your forge, and it is interesting to watch them at work. The final scene where one of your workers tries to fix the clock and curses profusely is very entertaining and reflects a lot of what I have seen growing up. A very fitting and accurate depiction of Slavs at work. I gotta say I felt satisfied with the main storyline for this DLC. Now for the most negative thing I have to say about the game. Unfortunately, it's the forging/blacksmithing system. First of all you forge are weapons. I would have liked to be able to forge armor or even some other more mundane items other than swords, axes, and the occasional horseshoe. Like, why not have commissions for making gates or fences? Maybe have the clergy commission the forging of a big cross or something. Maybe forge some tools, I don't know. Even though the process would be exactly the same as when making weapons, it would provide a welcome change in diversity of the things you make at least, and would be a welcome expansion on the forging system. Second, the forging system is shallow in itself and gets boring fast. Even the mechanics that are present in this mini-game can be bypassed for quicker forging, which is somewhat good as you speed up this monotonous process. You do not need to flip the weapon you are forging at all, nor do you need to hit the weapon with a full swing to make a top quality product. Hammering out the workpiece equally and consistently is also not needed. You can just hit the piece wherever you want, just not in the same place twice. This is the biggest complaint I have for this DLC. Had the forging system been improved and expanded a bit, this would be an amazing DLC. The way it is makes it just a pretty good DLC. So, to summarize, the progression of your forge is immensely satisfying. The upgrades being visually appealing, as well as boasting useful buffs, or are just useful to have, such as an alchemy bench, stables to house and clean your horse, a beehive for honey, a tub for washing clothes, and so on. Watching my forge and the attached household to it go from run down and having random useless stuff strewn about to a decorated, useful and highly efficient place of work and living is amazing to see and participate in. The side quests are repetitive but often have small payoffs in conclusions, which alleviates the repetitiveness. The customers that visit you and order weapons from you are mostly run-of-the-mill NPCs, with some unique ones sprinkled in, which can have funny and quirky characters and mini storylines. The main storyline is satisfying and fleshes out the characters of Martin, Henry's dad, as well as introducing several new people, which all have stories and progressions of their own, and most of them stuck in my mind. The blacksmithing system, being shallow and not being expanded at all in the DLC, was the most disappointing aspect of the DLC for me and stops it from reaching its fullest potential. Now, another minor gripe I forgot to mention is the fact that when you have no materials for blacksmithing on you, you have to run upstairs to retrieve some from your private chest. I would have loved it if the chest was on the same floor, if not in the same room where you do blacksmithing. I know that the people that work in your forge can sell you items, materials included, but they often either don't have the materials I needed or have them in very low quantities, forcing me to go to town to restock. All in all, I am pretty happy with the DLC Warhorse made here, and it was better than brushes with that the first DLC. And I gotta say, I'm looking forward to the third one. I give the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 DLC Legacy of the Forge an 8 out of 10, a good DLC. Okay guys, that's gonna be it for this mini DLC review. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know down in the comments, do you agree with me on this DLC? Was it better or worse than I think it is for you? Let me know down in the comments. And until next time, see ya.